All right, it's time for raising funds for World Domination, Day 81. Orthoplex64 sends a wave. Harith Rayan says hello there. How's it going? All right, so today I released another video. I'm starting to get back in the habit of actually outputting stuff. Yeah, and there's no developments on this. Fortunately, the renovation stuff is quieting down a bit. And today, I guess we will continue from where we were yesterday, which is working on the block mining simulation game. So yesterday I was trying to change something related to I was working on trying to generalize the function I have for calculating for applying differences to frames, so updates, so that way it'll be the same function effectively when I use it from two different places. So right now it's most of the same code, but there's some subtle differences, and I just want to first make it all the same function with less parameters and less complexity, and then I can optimize it. I like the new things I got asked a lot in stream video. Yeah, maybe I think I'll probably try. I think that's probably a good source for generating content. If people ask me a lot of questions on stream, then I'll try to factor that into a video, because it actually seems to be quite a different audience. Like, I guess that makes sense because I watch a lot of videos, but personally, I basically never watch live streams on YouTube. So, which is kind of interesting because I started streaming every day, but I honestly don't ever watch live streams at all. Let's see. So yesterday, I think I was working on this year. I had a really crazy bunch of code for the point behind that code was to try and have this like little region object that keeps track of how like the bounds for what region of the screen changed. And previously I just would look for the highest X, highest Y, and so forth. But now that I've refactored my code, I can use my more general intersection calculation function to clean that up a bit. But, and this is the theme of what I'm working on now, is I have some inconsistencies with, so when this function is called from the user interface frame, this is local frame change is true, and so a bunch of my offsets are off, and I need to just think about how to refactor this. So there's also a difference for the bounds check, but I think there's probably a way to make this smarter. Yoshikaga says, hello, I had to watch the annual required cybersecurity video. So boring, I almost fell asleep. Was it, don't pick up USB keys from the parking lot and put them in your computer? Make sure to use secure passwords. convinced that Udemy ratings are completely bogus. Yeah, those online course sites are, I don't know, dubious. They always have those like fake sales on. I don't know if how much I can trust the site. I think Udemy is one that does this, but they'll like buy this course on something. It's like 50% off, limited time offer, but it's always a limited time offer. Training was like 1 hour, 12 minutes. Yeah, it's a money-making endeavor for sure. YouTube, unironically, offers better educational material. Yeah, that's why someone in the past recommended, like, or didn't recommend, but they were saying like, oh, someone should just start up a competitor to YouTube. But YouTube is such a behemoth now. Like the only way you could get a competitor is if somehow there was like, if like the government abolished copyright or something, and then you could just like steal YouTube videos and then host them or something. But yeah, you would need some access to the content. Now my goal for this evening is going to be to try and get rid of this like offset thing I'm doing here. I think there's probably something I can do to make this generalized. Because it's basically the same operation. I think it's because my regions objects are relative to the frame dimensions when they should not be. Also feel like we all have collectively come to accept that it's okay for YouTubers to promote terrible products via their sponsorship. Yeah, it does seem to be a trend. Like these certain like meme, like everyone's promoting some kind of VPN, or this may be one. There's only one that's like actually kind of seems like a wholesome sponsor, which is Ground News. Like I assume Ground News is maybe still kind of biased or something, but that's one actual product where I've almost thought like, this does not make society worse. I know several YouTubers who promote BetterHelp. BetterHelp is known to sell data. Yeah, those services are, I don't know, to me they seem kind of sketchy. Like, at the very least, they're sketchy. But it depends on the ethics of who runs those. Like they could be like, they could be horrible, and I don't think they're bound by any kinds of like for a psychiatrist, you're bound by law and stuff to not talk about certain things. But for those things, like you can just bulk sell people's chat logs or something, then it's not good. Mint Mobile is another good one. Found their cheapest plans for years. I don't think I've seen them as a YouTube sponsor, but I know there's Honey. There was that Honey app, which was like inexplicably just supposed to save you money, and then of course it came out that they were just like stealing referral tokens, and then like buy a plot of land in Scotland or something. It's funny how some of these things are just so random, but they work and make a lot of money. Hate all the VPN ones. Everybody must think hackers can see everything without it. I also think a lot of those, I kind of think there's a lot of nefarious stuff that goes on with those VPNs as well. Because they also, on the other end, they offer like if you use a VPN to access remote content, the question is where do they get that IP address from? And I think it's just other VPN users. So it's not. I would be concerned about the security implications of like sharing your own IP for someone else, because you're getting security by compromising someone else's security. Are MVNOs really a thing in Canada? I'm not sure what MVNO stands for. Do TELUS, Bell Rogers just have their own prepaid plans? I'm not sure. I don't know the landscape of plans that well. I bought Incogni once. Not scam, but complete waste of money. No click to cancel. Dr. Money says, I love your videos. I'm in the army, stationed in Korea. Listening to your stuff at night helps me sleep. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I have a couple long form videos that are about an hour long. People have said those are good and relaxing to listen to. I'd like to make more of those, but they take a lot of time. VPN is not scam, but I think it's an unnecessary product for most people. I also wonder, like, what are the security implications of using it? And like, what about like if you think of it this way, if you buy internet, like the cost of internet is, $60, $100 that you pay for your internet. So that's the data going in and out of your computer. And for like $9 a month, if you're paying some other service $9 a month to route all your traffic through their service, how does that make sense? Because if they're the internet gateway, all the bandwidth has to go through them. So it almost seems like VPNs, if they wanted to get into the business of it, they could save money by setting up their own ISPs. Last mile is the most expensive. I guess that could make sense, but I don't know. To me, I would assume, I have to assume there's a lot of data mining and stuff going on. All right. Hello, Robert. What title will you give yourself as Supreme Leader of Axel Heiberg? That's a good question. I haven't thought about it yet. It's too much stuff to think about. Gotta get some progress going on this block mining simulation game, so we can start pumping out some new interesting features. I guess it could be anything, so as long as it's not fur. Yeah, that one's probably not a good bet. I think it's got to be a different name. So this is hard to think about. So all of these changed regions have different offsets when they come from the local frame. Maybe what I'll do is just go ahead and break some stuff. I'll break everything but the map area one. I'll just turn it off, I guess. Keep that. Gotta sleep. Good luck. Have a good night. Today I spotted a work truck sporting GCC on the sign. Pretty much the same stylization as GNU C. Nice. That's probably what it was. They were fans of the GNU compiler collection. Stealing your meme? Bradley's meme, or? Oh, I have a photo in the Discord. All right, there's a possibility that will work. Free de la Hoya says, "Hey Robert, how's it going?" Oh yeah, we got that familiar out of bounds issue. Today there are fewer new people. YouTube algorithm not doing its thing anymore. Yeah, it's I don't know, I think the the live streams are not that interesting. I definitely would not watch this live stream. It's kind of boring. But back when I first discovered live streams, when I started watching some Twitch live streams, yeah, it kind of reminded me of like almost like putting the radio on, just to like listen to a conversation or something. So I guess I can kind of see the general appeal. But it also seems to creep up throughout the hour. I've noticed it's kind of like it goes up gradually, and then by the end of the stream it's like 20 something. Maybe they're busy watching a recently published video. Yeah, I would have assumed that would actually bring people in, because I think the overlap between people that watch my like either long form or shorts in the live is extremely small. It's like 1 or 2% or something. I also think I've noticed when the stream is kind of silent, if I'm not saying anything, then I actually think it might even be down to like the YouTube algorithm is listening, and so the algorithm has to listen to the conversation for a while to figure out what the topic is, and then based on the topic and theme and whatever's popular tonight, then it goes out and it finds people who are interested in that. Or like it probably pulls from like the existing audience, so the set of people who've watched at least one of my videos. I actually got that feeling today. I had Twitch open with some political commentary on. I used some old JBL speakers and was day drinking, cleaning my garage. That moment nearly felt like Grandpa. Funny enough, I usually don't watch streams. So this Yoshi Kaga, this stream, do you actually like watch it much, or is it usually just like on a background tab? Or I'm curious about like the consumption model. You're a very dedicated live stream viewer. I just wrote my first piece of Kotlin. 1px high by 200px wide, always on top bar. Nice. It's actually the only stream I watch on a second monitor. Send me in background, except when Karen McLeod streams, which he no longer seems to. Yeah, the only time on YouTube, the only time I've like ever even clicked on one, like I actually went and looked for live streams, and it's hard to even find live streams on YouTube, which is kind of interesting. So I've heard some people speculate that they actually lose money on live streams, so that's why they don't promote it, which could make sense. There's probably I mean, after the stream ends, there's the VOD, and it'll get no views. Grandfather would be cleaning his garage with the radio on, listening to political commentary via NPR station. Thanks for making a video about a topic after I asked you on this. Oh yeah, I guess I can't remember if it was you. There's several people who asked a pretty similar question, but I think the last few times I said, I should make a video on this, and that was it's a pretty lots of people want to know what to do in life, but for the title, the title is kind of clickbait. Because in the video, I'm actually like pretty ambiguous, but honestly, that's like the honest answer is like, if you want like an analytical description of like what I think that you should, if I instruct someone to change their life trajectory, and be thoughtful about it, it's really hard to just give super clear answers like you should do this or that. There's tons of people out there who do that as just like a faking confidence thing, but like, you know what you should do? Buy Bitcoin. But then you can buy Bitcoin and it go down, or like housing market can crash. I mean, as much as housing goes up, I think our real estate market here in Canada might actually be starting to buckle. There's a few like real estate channels that I watch, and apparently it's like honestly, the prices haven't gone down that much, but this is the first time in like a decade where sellers are starting to realize that, the price doesn't always go up, and now inventories are going up, and of course some people they took the learnings about buying as many assets as possible as far as they could, so they went on margin, and those are the first people to get wiped out. Leave it on background unless there's some interesting conversation going on. I like podcasts more. Lex Friedman, it's pretty interesting. He interviewed DHH. Who's DHH again? Hope it crashes to zero. That'd be really nice. That'd be great if the price of a house just crashed like $300, and then I could buy a bunch of them. What are your thoughts on the WordPress controversy? Is there a new controversy? I think I remember seeing something on Hacker News like a year ago, or something about some kind of word. They were going to start charging money or something, or WordPress I don't think is even relevant anymore. Like I'm sure there's some I'm sure there's some niche sites out there that use it, but for like if you have an e-commerce site, I think everyone uses like Shopify now. I think if you have a static blog, I would not host a static site with WordPress now. I mean, WordPress is always it's constantly getting hacked and stuff. I think it's just connected to your viral I'm a loser video. People just want to know what to not do to be losers. Yeah, I think there's a bit of insight in that video. Hopefully it pops off. I really need another video to pop off and bring in some revenue. Otherwise I'll be a broke 38-year-old loser. David Heinemer Henson. He created Ruby on Rails. Oh, okay. I know of that guy. I think he's an interesting character, if I remember correctly. Old controversy? Yeah, I guess I haven't really kept up on it. I have like 30 websites on Hostinger for $10 a month. Nobody's using WordPress anymore. Yeah, that's what I figured. Isn't WordPress super vulnerable? Yeah, that's the automatic thing I think about. Is it's like running on some. There's like 10,000 PHP vulnerabilities in it. The plugins that make it vulnerable. Yeah, I think even the core framework too is kind of sketchy. Does it bring interesting, legit light on open source projects? I think some people do have flawed expectation from open source. Real internet chads are going back to GeoCities. I try to use like static hosting when I can. Broke 38-year-old loser. That means you get to make a new viral video. Yeah, I don't know. I want to have some more variety. I need a redemption arc. That's much better. How I dominated the world by 40. How I founded my own country. What's the plan for world domination? This is my first time here. Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. I have a video specifically on that topic. It's one of my last, I think it's 3 videos ago. And it goes into detail. It's called My Plans for World Domination. It's me standing by a river. Landchad.net. Best for tutorial. Yep, I made sure to think of my plans carefully. Okay, let's try to run this. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Wood Floor Alchemist says, what's up? Not too much. What did I miss? How's World Domination going? I got a video published today, so that will hopefully bring in some revenue, and it'll go super viral. Sure, give wide indents for your loops. I mean, like deep indents. I guess it's because my tab are like the default indentation. Only use 2 spaces. I guess, well, I guess it's based on the default in Vim, so I just use that. Oh, it must not have debugged. Use 16 spaces as an indentation. Well, I guess that way you're sure that you have an indentation. Four spaces? Yeah, I think it's 4 spaces. If I could find someone interested in interviewing you, would you be interested? I don't know. I haven't even thought about like doing some. There's some people around town that I know that I could interview and do like. I could start a podcast or something, but I mean the question is always like it's really easy to do interviews and it's easy to make content, but there's too much stuff. It's too much stuff that you could do, but only some of it makes enough money. Like you can make a podcast episode, and then if it makes, you know, a few $100, like $300 or something, it may not move the needle if it takes a few days to produce. What's going on here? Is it not? Oh, 1993. Why is it that? Linux uses 8. That's quite a bit. It's a way to discourage nested code, but Robert doesn't care. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of flaws with this code. Like every piece of code that I write is terrible, and my goal is always to like replace it with better code. So everything's just a stepping stone to the next thing. Voice is very soothing. Yeah, people point that out a lot. I'm very grateful that my voice is naturally good to listen to. There's a few people I've seen, I've encountered on YouTube. I just stumble upon their channel, and their voice is like really, really annoying and terrible. I'm asking if you would be interested going on someone else's stream. Probably not right now. Actually, it would depend on I guess it would depend on who it is and what the context of the interaction would be. Wayment was good. Which Wayment? You got to be more specific. Coding without spaces or new line challenge. Gone wrong. Asmongold's voice is very annoying, but he's super popular. Buddy in Ireland, channel is Baron Strawberry. I could take a look at his channel, although I don't know, there's I'm not there's lots of other interviews and stuff and things that I could do, but just not enough hours in the day. Actually, tomorrow I think I gotta like finally finish the taxes. So I have the trial balance finished for the taxes, but I have to actually send it off to the accountant and stuff. Okay, that's wrong. That philosophy comes to haunt you as we get someone who had to refactor someone else's code. Well, the question is, what's the alternative? Because like right now, like for the past multiple days, I've been refactoring. My goal was to get the last release of the game published, which has been completed. So now it's out there, and you can actually, see it. And actually interact with the demo. But generally, the way I write my code, I have a fair amount of experience with writing and working on pretty big things. So I tend to favor write a bit of unmaintainable code to get to the deadline, but then after the deadline, actually do the refactoring work, which is exactly what I'm going through right now. Oh, there, it's my first time on this channel, and also my first time on a live stream. Do you think one can pursue electrical engineering at 30 years old with no background in STEM? Seems like anything is possible in the USA. I think it is. I guess it depends on your career trajectory and like what you want to accomplish. I think my opinion on those kinds of things, those kinds of questions of like someone, a bit later in life getting into, or like getting a degree or something like that, and I feel like that. Honestly, I would say like from having went to school with and taught mature students who are like, serious about being there are usually like even more motivated and like do all the assignments and show up for all the classes and stuff like that. Now getting a degree, that's just one of the things. Like if you want to get into a job that requires the undergraduate degree, then of course you need to get that degree, but then that's like however many years to get the degree. Then the question is, once you get it, is it are the jobs going to be available? I think something that's like not spoken about enough is I think ageism in the industry is real, but it's not because older workers are less capable. It's because younger workers are easier to exploit. You're young and you haven't proved yourself yet. So if you're interested and motivated, I definitely think it's possible. But depending on, it may be worth thinking about like how much time do you want to dedicate? Because the worst thing in the world would be like you spend a ton of time getting an electrical engineering degree, then you graduate and you're like, I guess I don't know how like 33 or something like that, and then you're trying to get a job, and it takes you 2 years to get a job. So now you're like 35, and time is just melting away. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts on the subject. Anyone going to explain what's up with Asmongold and cockroaches? I'll skip that one. What will we eat when we start a new country? Indoor, hydroponic, rural operation, reindeer farm? I don't know. It's a good question. We could think about whatever's good to cultivate underground, because it's pretty cold up there. Reindeer taste anything like whitetail? That would be a great source of protein. Yeah, I mean, with enough energy, you could hollow out a pretty big cave up there. It works fine if you're a solo dev, but not when you work professionally. Yeah, I agree. Whenever I work with people, like every every project I'm on, like everyone has their own like rigid rules, and like we have to merge this way. And if I work on a project, I just comply with, you know, whatever rules people ask of me. I just like, sure, whatever I can do to satisfy the person who's reviewing the code change, so they can hopefully just be like, looks good to me. But then there's some people that they make a point of always finding at least one problem in your code, even if it's perfect. Depends if you're doing it for sake of a career or a personal interest. I'm talking from a place of pure passion, not profit. Personally, like most careers, will be out the window eventually. Physical labor tasks will be best bet for careers. Yeah, I think I guess within electrical engineering, like electrical engineering is pretty broad. So you could do like there's electrical engineers that design, that work with like low voltage DC circuits and stuff like that, like Arduinos and, you know, Raspberry Pis and sensors and stuff like that, of the kind of like high technology. But then there's more like the, like your kind of standard trades electrician. So not necessarily like an engineer, but an electrician. I mean, depending on what you want to accomplish in life. I don't know everything about your background, but I know for some people, when you are researching these careers, I know, especially when I was young, you don't even know the difference in definition between, say, like what is the difference between an electrical engineer and an electrician. To, you know, some people those are the same thing, but in practice they're wildly different, and you need a completely huge amount of very different amount of experience you need for those different career paths. And one may have, you may have a much easier time finding work doing one versus the other. Why don't we just vote to move the equator? We could. What form of government will we have up there? So I'm going to be lazy on all that stuff. So I've got to copy and paste all of Canada's civil and criminal law, but then I get to arbitrarily modify it as I see fit. Thank you so much for answering my question. It's for career progression. I guess a follow-up question would be like, what do you what's your opinion on becoming like an electrician and going into the trades? So like working with mains, household hookups and electrical panels versus like, do you want to work with embedded systems and like design power supplies, like super efficient power supply, switch mode power supplies, and work with instrumentation amplifiers to measure sensitive things and stuff? Because those are kind of like encompassed by, those would both be encompassed within the field of electrical engineering, but the amount of time it would take to get into those professions is very different. And if you want to like make money fast, I mean, a reasonable progression might even be like, first try to get, get your like electrician certification or whatever, and then when you have that, then you can maybe there's a way to like on the side like upgrade it. I'm not sure if I mean, to get it a certified, like for up here in Canada, to get a an accredited engineering degree, so that you can be so that you could be a certified engineer and like get your, well, in Canada we get the iron ring. For that, there's very specific. You have to like attend a full-time course. You have to attend a full-time undergraduate program for and get a certain number of credit hours and stuff. And you got to take like a certain number of electives and with like humanities courses and stuff. There's a co-op program with my degree. My degree took me 4 years and 8 months. That's the minimum. That's the exact amount of time it takes to do 6 internships and 8 academic terms. That's quite a bit of time. So if you're 30 now, you'd be almost 35 before you'd complete a program like that. And I don't know, it's with the way the world's going, the ROI on getting a degree is becoming less and less certain. And I think with the housing shortage, like one way or another, we are going to build more housing. That's going to happen. So focusing on like becoming an electrician to like do like mains electrical stuff. And then if you're really passionate about it, you can probably stepstone from there. Inherit to Canada class. Yeah, that's I think that's a good way to think of it. I literally just attempted to agree with you by clarifying scope of argument, so we don't think you're on the right track by talking about being on the right track. Sorry, I kind of missed that. Honestly, pick what you like instead of getting into a field for monetary gain. I don't know. I would say like don't pursue something you hate in the pursuit of money, but I think don't only pursue passion because you got to pay bills. I'm just skimming some of these. For background, I just enlisted in the military, have a job related to electromagnetism. So I have about 1 year experience in that. Like it, focusing on RF frequency is my goal. Oh, okay. That's okay. So that's very. If you're into that stuff, then you're very much on a career progression of like, engineering type stuff. Yeah, I mean, if you're going the military route, there's there's a ton of stuff to know about like drone warfare and stuff now. I'm sure you, if you're in that career, you probably see all the YouTube videos about like fiber optic drones and stuff. And yeah, I'm not even sure what specific rules there would be for that related to military. But if you're, yeah, maybe you could even do some research into like what, like given where you are, and if you're into that stuff, you could, try to go to like Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and all those military contractors and stuff. And if you already have, if you're into, if you have a job related to electromagnetism, that sounds like it would be. I guess anyone who says they have a job related to electromagnetism probably knows a decent amount about the physics, which is the general public does not. Your average electrician probably doesn't work with Maxwell's equations and stuff. Yeah, I guess it would depend on whether you want your career path to be in the military sector or the civilian sector. And I would imagine, I have no idea what kinds of things you would want. What kind of like certifications and qualifications? You'd have to like ask around, because I'm sure the military has like standardized certifications that you need to like work on a specific project at a company. And I don't have any insight into those. Even if you only pursue passion, have for sure a way to make money doing it. Maybe I think the often repeated phrase "follow your passion" is like it's kind of lazy advice. Like it's not like your passion might work out for you, but I think you I think there's some other considerations you'd want to make. Because I also find like one aspect of like being passionate about a job that people don't think a lot about is whether the job, it's not necessarily like the physical aspects of the like objects in the job. It can also be like if your job is valued, like if you had I come to this conclusion from teaching, where I really hadn't thought much about being passionate about teaching or something like that. But after teaching some courses for a while and like interacting with students and seeing how much I can actually make an impact on people's lives, and how much like students value and appreciate when you help them, then like you become passionate about a job that other people value and appreciate. And so like you could do a job and maybe the job is interesting and you are passionate about it, and then you become not passionate because your workplace is terrible and like everyone there is super antisocial and condescending, and you will get different answers based on who you ask. Maybe Robert can be a neutral party. Civilian pays more, as far as I know. Yeah, I don't know anything about how much people make it military contractors and stuff. Someone's passions definitely don't make enough money, like being a YouTuber. Someone passions definitely don't make enough money. Well, it comes in waves. I mean, right now, YouTube is the biggest money maker. YouTube is also just like it's a business endpoint, so it's not only I mean, the reason I got into YouTube was I actually started advertising. So I was paying money for ads on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that. And then after playing around with that for a couple of years, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm putting content out on YouTube. The stuff on YouTube gets like parabolically increasing views. Whereas I'm putting out like the same content on other platforms like Facebook and stuff. I have to pay money to get people to see it. All right, let's think about this. So that's where my crazy number is coming from. YouTube isn't really great and stable income source compared to regular salary. It's true, but my goal has been to grow a business, and just doubling down on what works and produces revenue has led me to here. I'm completely confused now. Me too. I'm gonna go back to looking at this. So I think what I actually need to do is calculate the intersection between this region . Oh, nice. We're gonna super chat for the building fund. Yeah, I forgot I haven't gotten a super chat in a while. sickest, slickest, rickest. I'm having trouble following what you're saying there, so I'll just abstain from commenting on that. This is super awful looking code here, but this is just the name of temporary refactoring. Oh, okay. I didn't follow the full conversation history. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a while before AI is accelerating, but I think we're going to have a lot of problems with like information warfare and like, you know, crazy online misinformation getting to critical levels before we actually have AI like replacing stuff in the real world. Someone mentioned calzone? I don't think so. This conversation is too philosophical for my taste. But that's okay. Got some code to write. Boy says, what? I'm not sure. It's a good question. Explain what your ideal plan here. What do you mean, in relation to what I'm working on, or in relation to the stream title? Screen titles. I'm actually curious what the plan when you do take over. Oh, you're in for a treat. Go to my channel. I actually have a video. It's called My Plans for World Domination, and It's a video of me standing in a river. You should recognize it. There's some green grass in the background. It's one of the last, I think it's like 3 videos ago. So if you go watch that video, that'll explain my plans in detail. Yeah, super serious. I don't even think I need that. That Linux command gave me a virus? Which one? There's a lot of Linux commands. Game Dev Chad, this is good evening. How's it going? Just working on trying to continue merging. I have two different places where I run this from, and I'm working on making it like one generic merge function, as opposed to having like two slightly different ones. On the circuit, you gotta be on your best behavior. YouTube blog with my harmful Linux commands example. Nice. no harm in piping curl command sudo bash. I have it set to top chat, so whatever kind of, I guess in your, so up there by where my cursor is, if you see that top chat, if I switch it to live chat, it'll show some of the suppressed chats. You might have that on your end, so if you change top chat to live chat, you might see your message there, and you'll often see like other random shadow banned chats and stuff. Miner 7999 says, hello. How's it going? So many different regions to keep track of. I'm getting lost. used high and low rate the first time. I don't know. I didn't follow that conversation. High equals software, simpler. Low equals hardware plus software. I guess so. I guess that makes sense. I think we have complex high-level code and simple low-level code. Yeah, I guess it depends how you define complexity. It's one of those very philosophical discussions. All right, there's a chance that works. Does what I want. Now, will it crash? Wow. It's not updating though. Well, that might be progress. a print of hello world C++ versus straight system destroying pseudo self-privileging Python script or something. I guess it almost sounds like borderline nonsense to me. Okay, that might be pretty close to what I want. Almost. Move bounds for links 0. comment this, figure out which line is actually tripping. $346. Terminal gaming, excellent. That's right. Use Vim, please. I gotta use the debugger for a few minutes. It's I use the debugger when I just want to breakpoint onto something and poke around in the state to figure out what's broken. Oh, is that working? I didn't expect that. Some people worship Vim. It's a pretty good editor. Nice. Oh, fantastic. That's amazing that works. Now let's get the help menu working. That was a nasty thing to untangle. gets the job done like Nano. Nano's not even comparable to Vim. Bro was giving me anxiety without going at it without debugger yesterday. I guess we have contention here. Some people are on Team Debugger and some people want Vim. All right. All right, this is looking good. And it was too many instructions built into UI. Yeah, it does have too many instructions. Surprised no one's bashing you for using Java, seeing how unpopular it is. I think a few people have. Just stack traces give me migraines. I like I actually like stack traces. Honestly, it makes it so much easier to debug when it crashes and then my program just instantly tells me where the problem is. Bridger Murphy says hello. How's it going? Well, I was actually just planning to head off as I reached my work goal for today. We got a little bit more progress on disentangling a really nasty offset issue. So that'll be it for tonight, and then I guess tomorrow we'll be back for day 81. All right, have a good night, guys. What did you do? I worked on this. So I made a little bit of progress on the block mining simulation game. So I have some functions to update areas on the screen, and I tried to there's two places where I use this function, and I want to generalize the function make it a bit simpler. Because the way I was passing in regions to change, I had like one area where it was relative, and then one was absolute offset, so I made it consistent. It was kind of difficult to think about because my code's not good. But yeah, I guess after this I'll clean this up and delete that debug code. Being back for day 82. I still show day, what did I say? 82, yes. The stream shows 81. All right, have a good night, guys.